today I'm going to presenting it to you is the impact of guaranteed quota for female students in advanced STEM studies. As the founder has mentioned, I have been mentoring many Olympia students, which is a high school level. So I actually forgot to mention that what I'm talking about, the advanced STEM study, this is all based on the high school levels. It's nothing postgraduate or graduates. Okay. So for the high school students, okay, besides the general STEM programs, we do have some a little bit advanced one. We would like to see more women to participate. And among those, I simply categorize them into competitions and education. Competition, we have science fair, science ability competition, selection for international national team for international Olympia. And those are the competitions. The students have to really compete with each other. And for those two, they are just based on individual person, okay? But for the selection for international, for the national team for international Olympia, we also have additional education for study camps for those national team. So that counts as half of education, okay? And then we have, on the education side, we have this science class for gifted students, which is more advanced than the general program for high school students. So in this case, because of these two are more like an individual's effort, so I will focus on this, the selection of the International Olympia students and the science class for gifted students. How the guaranteed quota will affect on the female students participating in these two very advanced STEM programs. Okay, this is a small statistics for the Taiwan National Olympia teams. We participate 6 international Olympiads, okay, which are mathematics, chemistry, physics, biology, earth science, and information. They are starting with different years, okay? This is the total students numbers. And what we can see is that the female student numbers, they are compared to the total student numbers, the percentage is extremely low. Okay, so this is the initiative that we need to do something to change the situation a little bit. So what we are going to do is that we decided we have going to guarantee some quota for the female students. Okay, so for each selection team, for each selection program, we have to have some female students in there. Among all those selections, teams, selection of the subjects, some started early, some started late. But the first round, the national team selection is always complicated. So I have many rounds, okay? The different field has different program. But the first round usually is the largest participation. And that we have a mandate to have some of those guaranteed quota. And the second round, the information you can see, they don't have that because they just don't have that many female students interested. So they only do on the first round. But the others, they all have up to the second round. They all have a guaranteed quota for the female students. But for the national team itself, we don't have any guaranteed quota. So to the end, the national team is still by how they are doing. But for all different rounds, they actually have involving some camps. So they have some advanced teaching associated with those camps. And the chemistry is the one that started earliest and have the highest percentage of the guaranteed quota. It's 1/3 of that. So I will focus on the results of this guaranteed quota. So this is, we started with 2013, and here we can see that the first round we have 54 students, the second round is 12, and for the 54 students, most of the female students get into the camp is because it's guaranteed. And among them, so we're going to the second round, it's the same thing happened, okay? So for the first year, we don't see much of an improvement. So the second year, the person in charge just decided not to do it, okay? And after a long time competing, rebattling, finally, 2015, we redo it again, okay? And continue to nowadays. Again, okay, this is more like a new year. We have most of the students behind, most of the female students score are behind. Those are the scores, okay, so most of the male students are in the front and female students are in the back. And to the 2016, it's the year we saw is a big difference, okay? In the 54 people, we still have lots of students because of the guaranteed quota, okay? But the interesting thing is that for the second round, the 12 students, we have almost all female students will automatically into the second round. And within them, one of the female students making to the national team. And the year after that, we see, once you get good results, we can continue seeing that. We have one of the students, the female student, actually is number 1 in the national team. So this is a little bit, it's encouraging because it's not guaranteed, because this is a highly regarded competitions. So not just the students and the parents are very, very focused on this type of a competition. The guaranteed quota for female students have received lots of pressures. Why we have to do that, okay? So this is very important, okay, for us to show that this is, it may work, okay? So we continue doing that. And after that, for the 2018, now I am doing a little bit more thorough statistics, okay? So again, these are the first round, 54, and these are the 12, but I included how they enter into the camp, and this is the end. The second one is the end camp results, okay? So as we can see, in the first round, the female students didn't progress much, okay? And the second round, again, there are a couple of them becoming better, but still it's in the back. The year 2019 is a similar behavior, okay? It's what we can see is that actually it's getting worse, okay? The 2020 is also, it's not very good, not very promising, okay? We have some good ones, but once they into the second level, the students in the second level, you can see it here, they all have because of the guaranteed quotas to involve into the second camp. But after they finish that, they still stay behind. Right? The year 2020 shows exactly the same results. And one of the female students just drop off after this, during the period. But if we, this looks like the whole thing I have said before, that this helps in the female student to involve in the more competitive environment. This is just the opposite. But if we look at closer into this one, and actually the person in charge of the program is slightly different. So we can see that this is the new year, and then we'll have, again, yet another new person. So we can see is that just have the policy actually is not enough. The female student, they can join, okay? But this is a very intense study. They will need a little bit more encouraging. So just by having them into the program, it's just not going to help them much. They need a little bit more nurturing and encouragement to help them really enrich themselves. Okay, so this is what for all these years, what we can see, just policy is just not enough. Right? So now I'm going to switch to the science class situation. Okay. The science in Taiwan, we don't have the science academy, so it's one university is dedicated to the advanced science project. What we have is we only have one class in 10 of the high schools in Taiwan, and each one class only have 30 students in there. Okay, so they're spread around on the west coast of Taiwan. And among them, they started with the 2011. Some started early, some started late. And one of the schools in Taipei is only accepting boys. Okay. One of the schools, again, in Taipei, is only accepting girls. So for those two, we are not discussing them. Okay, they are just outside. And then for the others, okay, again, we have 3 high schools on the northern part. They are co-educated. Okay, the other 5 schools, they are traditionally the high school only for boys. Okay, but if you're going to have the science class, the government is mandating that you have to accept female students. So these 5 schools, they have to accept female students for their science class only. So that means the number will be really low in the whole school. In the class, it will be few, but in the whole school, it just they are the only female students. Okay. So this is the school in Taipei. I have to apologize for the busy slides. I will do carefully explaining that. Each cluster is for 1 female student, right? And the y-axis is the rank of the students. It may sound very strange to foreigners, but very unfortunate. In Taiwan, we do rank students. So number 1 is the best. Number 30 is the lowest on the other side of the class. So we can see that's the rank of that female student. And the cluster is that the blue is when she got into the class, okay, what's her rank is. And the second one is the grade 10 score, and grade 11 and grade 12, okay? So for the year 2015, okay, it's some of the students the rank is dropped, okay? But if after that, from the 16, we can see that all the female students, almost everyone improved in the class. By the time they get into the class, they may be in the lower part of the class, but they move to the very much in the high in the class. Especially this one. This one has right after she entered in the class, she has been number 1 in the class for all 3 years. Okay, so. And the trends are very similar, okay, except the 15. The trends are very similar. You can see that all the female students into the science class, their performing are dramatically increased, okay. But then for the school in Taipei, they usually got 4 or 5 or 6 female students, but unfortunately, by the year 2018, the school for the class for just the girl students, they just started, okay. So they have a big influence on them. So they only have 1 student each, okay, for this year's, and this is that student's performing, and this is that year's performing, okay. So again, they still show the definite trend that they are improving. So this is the school in Taipei. And the school in the middle part in Zhanghua, which is the boys' school. Okay, so they don't have that many female students, so they have 3, 1, 3. And the year 2018 is very special. They have 9 girls. Okay, then they drop down again. Again, we can see that the trends that the female student, if they got in the second half of the class, they improve a lot. If they got in, it's reasonably okay. It's not necessary they will continue improving, right? So some getting worse. So the year 2018, again, they have 9 girls, and they are performing. Most of them are improving, right? This is 2019. It's hard to conclude. This is Tainan. Again, they are all the boys' school. And this is the school. It's it's a unique because the school in that area is very prestige. They have no problem to attract the female student, even though they are the only female students in the school, okay? So they have constantly have more than 6 female students, okay? Very steady. even though that performing still similar. Okay, they have showing this still similar behavior trends. Okay. So this is the southest school in Taiwan, the science class in Taiwan. Again, most of the school has a female student up and down. Okay, the Tainan is very special that they have a constant flow of the female students. And for Kaohsiung, we can see that. Did I hit something? Again, this is general trends. Okay, if they come in the second half, they will improve. They have more room to improve, and they do. Okay, they do improve then. And this is one of the students. Okay, this is the general trends. And I'm moving this one in the front. It's not just because they are the boys' schools, and also they are the one is still doing no guarantee quota. Okay, from the next school is the one in Taichung. They think that again this is only for the boys. They think that for 2 or 3 female students in the one class, all 3 years you may have 8. Okay, maybe lucky you have 9. The whole school has only 9 female students. It's not a good thing for the students. Okay, that's the school decided. So they decided they're going from the 2017. They decided they're going to have a guarantee, guaranteed quota for female students for the science class. They will say that's going to be 20%. So it will be 6 students, female students. Okay, it's very interesting is that. In that year, when they announced they're going to have a guaranteed quota for the female students, they don't need to, because all the students, all of a sudden, they have 6 female students have all the scores high enough to get into the class. So the first year, they don't need to specially admit anyone. And the year 2018, they do have 1, and the 19, they have 3. So, but previously, they don't get this many students, okay? But again, for the students going to the all-male school is still struggling. So one of the students actually decided to give up the chance to go into the science class. Right. So this is a Wuling. This is the interesting thing is that they tried to do the same. They only have 3 students each year. So again, 2018 they decided to do the same thing. They decided to do the guaranteed quota for 6 female students. Just a very similar trends. Okay, they are a year after Taichung, but again, in that year they announced they don't have to. They all of a sudden they have a 6 female student. The score is high enough to get into the class. But the 19 they have 2. They need to help. Right? So then there's more schools doing that. Hsinchu is doing that, but only for 3 students. Okay, so again, when they said they're going to do that, they only reserved for 10%, so 3 students. They don't need to do that, and the year 2019, they even have an extra. Okay, and then the trends of the students' learning, the behavior is similar. Once they get into the class, they really improve a lot. Okay, so this one is also number 1 now. Jiayi. Jiayi is the school. They have just 3, 4, 2. So in the 2018 they decided they're going to have the guaranteed quota, but they only have 5. Okay, I don't know the percentage. It just says 5. Okay, so this is 4 of them has to use the privilege to get into the class, and it was still improving. Okay, even that they still improving. Okay. And this is 2019, so I got the color wrong. Okay, still, this is the enrollment. Okay, 2 of them need to be helped. Okay, to get into the classroom. So this is last year. Okay, last year we now have out of the 8 schools, 4 didn't have a guaranteed quota. 4 has. Okay, the 4 don't have that. 3 of them have no problem attracting the female student. That's why they didn't want to do it. But the one in Taipei, actually, they only have 2 female students. But the school itself is a co-ed, so they are not too worried about that. I think that in the long run, they may think about guaranteed quota. Okay, And these four have the guaranteed quota for 6653. And last year, they were like this. They have some need to be helped, and 3, they don't need to. Okay, so I am very interested to see how those students outcome. So for all those the students in this science class, well, the total students are 125 female students only. Okay, we already graduated like more than close to 2,000 or 3,000. Okay, and for all of them, there are 125 female students rank went up, and 40 went down. The one with the entering with the privilege, with the guaranteed quota, they have actually there are 13, but one stays the same. So 11 of them going up, only 1 went down. But again, if you enter in the class with the guaranteed quota, that means you are the lowest on the class. It's very difficult to go down again. So this I'm not quite sure how they were representing. But this side is a very interesting thing. The female student entering the class maybe not so good, but during that they improved a lot. Okay, so this is come to my conclusions. Okay, first is that I think most of the female students, they are capable, but somehow they lack of confidence. This is especially when we see in the science class. During the year they announcing they're going to have a guaranteed quota, all of a sudden they don't need to, because there are more female students just coming to try to do it. But before you have that, they just don't bother to apply. Okay, and because they don't know whether they are good enough or not. So guaranteed quota is definitely helping lose the lack of confidence. The reason I always emphasize on here is that occasionally we hear people saying that, especially for us actually, especially me, I always say, some of the female scientists or engineers, the one who making to the professorship usually is a very strong, ambitious person. Okay, I will say that to myself. Okay, and in this case, some of them will think, well, I can do it. Why other people need help? Okay, but this is very important. Is that how the very strong, ambitious women really is in the small amount. It's the minority, but we want to have an enlarged base. Because we always have a leaking pipelines, we were saying that. The farther you went up, the less females you will see. So we need to enlarge the base. And we can't just focus on those one with a strong ambition, strong will, okay? We need to increase the base, and we wanted to attract those capable, but just lack of confidence. The guaranteed quota is really encouraging those students with lack of confidence. They will all of a sudden they're willing to try, and once they try, they realize that they are very good. Okay, so this is what we have learned from those science class students. And then there's again in the science class students. Okay, we think it's intense. They are relatively intense. Intense environment enhance those, the performance of the female student, because they may not have the higher competition, or with the tight with the students, tight with the I think it's a peers competition, or peers talking with each other helps a lot. So that is in that environment, those some of the female students just improved a lot. That's what we see in the results of them. And in extremely intense learning environment, which I would say is Olympiad competition, which is a lot more intense than the science class. And in this environment, even though they were helping the female students, but again, you can't just let them in only. You have to have a little bit more encouragement. Okay, this is the one for the Olympiads, what we have learned. These are more like from the science class. Okay, And the last one is my personal opinions or all those observations, is that we heard about lots of policies, okay? But lots of the policies, they need to be implemented for a long time, which I meant is at least 3 to 5 years before they're being reviewed. Because like I was mentioned that, the Chemistry Olympia has guaranteed a quota for female students. But just 1 year, it doesn't seem to see any help, and they just stopped it, which is way too soon. Because the traditional, the female is less in the STEM study. It's a long tradition. Okay, we are fighting for a long tradition culture around the world. We need patience. We need to consistently doing that. If we decide that something is important, okay, we want to see the outcome, we need to do it for a long time before we see that whether it works or not. Any short-term evaluation is going to be misleading. So this is what I was like to share with all of you. Okay, so this is conclude my talk. Thank you very much.